So what we're dealing with here is really a big mess. Absolute disaster. It's terrible. It's in an off spot of our yard. But what we're going to do is turn it into an absolute masterpiece. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. As you see, we got a mess over here. This 6x6 bed that we built 5 years ago. It's built out of cedar. I mean, so it's going to make it. But we kind of skimped on how we did it. Probably didn't make it deep enough. But it's been very productive for years, honestly. We get like 3 plantings in that sometimes. Like we'll plant radishes and some greens in the early spring. Then when it gets a little too hot, we'll get our winter squashes in it. So we planted winter squash in it a lot, and we've planted okra around it as well. So and then we'll go back and plant. We went back and planted greens in it late before, and gotten some beautiful lettuce out of it. Honestly, like lettuce that would overwinter. We used a like Landis winter lettuce, and it would overwinter and just beautiful. It was super productive, but it got to where last year it just wasn't productive. We put the winter squashes in it, and they didn't do well. They grew, but they didn't produce, and the fruit would start rotting on the vine, and I think we wore it out. Being real with you, I think we wore it out. So we're doing something different with it this year. It just got to be too much of a mess. But you got to make sure that when you get in that situation, use your space in a way that's productive. Now, what is actually productive will look different for different people. That's for sure. I mean, one person may not like green beans as much as you like green beans, and so therefore they don't plant as many green beans. But what production should also look like for everybody is using what you have to the best of your ability. This is why we are reusing a lot of this soil that we've already purchased over the years. I mean, if you've purchased bagged soil over the course of time, you can reuse that. We just put it here in this pile and put it where we need it the next year. And now as we work on filling this bed up, we'll talk about exactly how it looks being productive right here. Because while we do enjoy winter squash, it may not be our favorite side dish. I mean, we've grown some really good winter squashes over the years, but is there something better we can do with this space? So if not winter squash, then what? Well, we like to do multiple plantings in a bed every year. So this bed needs to be able to get at least 2 crops of something that we love to eat inside of it this year. So we settled on this. Sugar daddy peas. Why not? These things will grow in cooler weather, so I can start them early. They don't need trellising. They only get about 2 foot high. They're heavy producers. So why not plant this entire thing in sugar daddy peas? And also, in order to be really productive, you need to do it in bulk. Another thing about these peas is that you can grow a bulk amount. That's why we're growing the whole thing full. It's bulk. That's the most productive we can do. In our situation, we don't really grow our proteins here. Yes, we bring in a lot of eggs, but we don't grow meat here. We don't raise meat here because it's a smaller space. So we focus on side dishes. Bulk amount of peas creates a wonderful side dish. Plenty of side dishes. So our goal here for our food independence is to create to grow as many side dishes as possible. Therefore, why not grow this thing full of one item that should produce a wonderful, easily preserved side dish? But before we can plant our seeds, you got to remember that the winter squashes are massive feeders, heavy feeders. So that's why it's time to get them off this piece of ground, this soil, because they've stripped it completely of all its nutrients. So in order to regrow it and bring this plot of ground back to life, this 6x6 bed back to life, we fertilized it heavy. Kelp meal, bone meal, blood meal, everything. Get in there, mix it in, and let's try to bring this soil back to life. Even throw in some I'll call it biochar, maybe not necessarily biochar, but it's a bunch of small pieces of coal or charcoal from my burn pile down here where it's been burning wood. So there's a lot of just nutrient dense things put in here, or mineral dense things put in here, I guess you should say, to produce what we're going to plant. The point of this is going to be to create quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Each corner, and then grow up to the middle, down, so you got a good space growing around. So then you take these beautiful peas and just simply every couple inches put them down. And then after those peas are out, we've got an amazing dry bean that we love to grow, and we're going to plant that thing full of dry beans as well. So over the course of this whole season, we should produce a massive amount of sugar snap peas and a large amount of this incredibly delicious dry bean, and then therefore really produce a whole lot of nutritious side dishes for us to consume for a long time. And while I'm busy planting those, Angela Kay is down here replanting some grow bags.
I'm planting Lillian's caseload shell peas, English peas, in these grow bags. We planted them in the grow bags in the fall just as an experiment, and they did wonderful, but the frost got them.
Yeah, so we trellised them with these tomato cages, right? Because they do need staking a little bit.
Yeah. So Jason was the one who came up with the idea. We trellised them with the tomato cages, and they grow up them perfectly.
It worked wonderful. It really did.
It worked wonderful, and they were producing like crazy, and then we had like a 8-degree temperature, and it
killed them,
annihilated everything. Even though we covered them, it wasn't enough to protect against that.
So we'll have 4 15-gallon grow bags of those and 2 10-gallon grow bags of those. So we're looking to produce a massive amount of peas, right? And those are shell peas, where these are going to be sugar snap peas that don't need to be shelled. So that's what we got going on. It's early, sure, but it's ready to plant some peas, right? So we're looking to produce a massive amount of shell peas, snap peas, and then maybe some dry beans later. And here we are 6 days later. There's 15 rows here, and I think there's 14 rows down there. I remember that for sure. But there's massive amounts of sugar snap peas here. You know, we're growing food in bulk. One kind of vegetable in a bulk setting that will do Angela and I a lot of good for a long time. And you can see right here, they've already started sprouting. We've had a lot of rain this week, and it washed some of them up a little bit, washed them out a little bit. We got them kind of recovered, but they've already started sprouting, which is awesome. And so now those should last for 2 months or so. We're hoping for maybe a little longer, depends on how the heat goes and if the heat gets them or not. Because peas like cooler weather in a sense, but sometimes they can handle a little bit warmer weather. And after those come out, we will then plant it full of a bush bean that we use for dry beans, for shelling and drying, which again should provide us with massive amounts of one kind of food that we can use in several different ways for a long time this winter. But while we did that, while I was planting those Sunday evening, Angela Kay was planting some more peas down here. And you can see here, they're already sprouting as well. Very, very good job getting them sprouted so quickly. Now after those come out, we're probably gonna be able to plant some carrots in there. So again, we're using these same growing methods and the same mediums, the same soil for multiple different things, so we can grow multiple vegetables that we can then put away, store away for a long period of time. And actually, we're making a greater impact on our food security and food independence in that manner. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. My name is Jason. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.